So I'm Mark O'Neill, and I work for the Government Digital Service. What's the Government Digital Service, I hear you asking? You're asking, aren't you? Government Digital Service, we're a brand new bit of government. We have been in existence for about 5 months now. Why do we exist? We exist for a number of reasons. One of the reasons we exist is that UK government spends about, I'll say about, £14 billion a year on IT. That's a big number. So in context, I'm up here to talk for 10 minutes. In that time, we'll have burnt through £300,000. Another figure, classic comparison metric, that is larger than the total public sector budget for Wales. So, £14 billion a year. And as we all know, we all get a series of very high quality digital services for that money. Customer focused digital services, which are a joy and a pleasure to use. That's why we exist. A couple of statistics about channels and channel shift. On average, a call centre encounter in the public sector costs £6.25. Based on self-reported figures from people like us, users, there are 150 million avoidable call centre transactions every year. That's about £1 billion a year. That'd be quite nice to save, wouldn't it? Particularly if we could deliver a better service on top of it. We have a range of services which we deliver across government. Some of them are good. Some of them, on the other hand, are quite frankly unacceptable. We've got one service, I'm not going to tell you which services these are. We've got one service in the public sector, which is very big, very important service, which is currently deemed an online service. It's deemed a success because one person has made it to the end of that transaction without calling for help. We've got another service where over 50% of the people who use this transaction end up calling the call centre as they go through it. And on average, they make 7 calls to the call centre. What's particularly charming is that that particular service is aimed at 18-year-olds, so digital natives. So we face a fundamental challenge. We can no longer afford to burn that kind of money. We can no longer afford to deliver shoddy, unacceptable services. So GDS, we're here to transform government. We're here to transform government services, how they're delivered. We're also here to transform how those services are developed, originated, managed, run, maintained, delivered. So how do you start with something like that? So we started with something called DirectGov, which many of you will be familiar with, the wonderful orange website. And we've built, currently in beta, a site called GovUK. And a bit like what Brendan was saying, GovUK is open source. We've built it ourselves. It's all standard open source technology, which we've bolted together on the grounds that if it's good enough for Amazon, if it's good enough for Google, if it's good enough for Telefonica, it's kind of good enough for us. That's allowed us to deliver services vastly quicker, vastly cheaper, and vastly better. Fundamental shift with GovUK, user centricity. Everything we do is centered around the user. Everything is there to meet a user need, a real user need. Do it faster, do it better, deliver value. Because the fundamental thing is, if you actually meet a user need, then bizarrely enough, what you find is your total costs go down. Because the points of friction, the points of confusion, the points of difficulty in your service provision start to evaporate. People start to find it easy to make use of your services. They find it simple to move through the service delivery, easy to get to the service they need. This is important for us because the services we offer are universal. Some of them are mandatory. Quite a lot of what we do is mandatory. It is mandatory to pay your taxes. Given that, how do we improve them? How do we build services which actually deliver value, which are used by people in a way which they feel comfortable and familiar with? Why should using our services be different from using services from Amazon, John Lewis, Telefonica, whoever else? Yeah, there are some services we offer which will always have pain associated with them, but that pain is there for a good reason. If you're claiming benefits from the states, then we want to put some hurdles in your path because we want to make sure that people who need the money get the money, not just people who can fill in a form. So there's a lot of challenges we face. One of the challenges we face is around culture. You will be unsurprised to learn that the public sector is full of bureaucracy. I know that's a surprise to a lot of people in this room. We don't like to reveal that normally. So the problem we face, or the challenge we face, is how do you bring agile delivery into a vast bureaucracy? I should say I don't do rhetorical questions. That was kind of, if anyone's got any hints and tips, we'll take them. How are we doing it? How am I doing it? I'm doing it by continuous delivery. Continually deliver better, faster, cheaper. Better services to the citizen. Better quality to internal users. Better experience throughout. Doing it faster and doing it cheaper. How do we do it? You heard about Agile. We use Agile. You come to our office, every surface is covered in post-it notes. I can tell you now, sell shares in Facebook. Sell shares in Instagram. Sell shares in any digital business. There are two things in this world which will make you money. Put your money into post-it notes and scaffolding. So that's how we work. We're about continuous delivery. We're about making this country a better place. We face some of the similar challenges people have spoken about. If we look at some of the key figures and some of the key aspects which came out of it, social media is an incredibly interesting challenge for us because it fundamentally transforms the relationship between the service provider and the service user. I spend a lot of time working with startups, SMEs, various people. And one of the things which I've noticed increasingly of late is when I work with young people, their approach to service management, to service delivery, is completely different from mine. I regard services as something which is done to me. I go to my bank, I log into their absolutely abysmal online banking service. I wade my way through their dreadful user experience. It's something which is done to me. The young people who I work with take a different approach. For them, services is something you pick, something you aggregate yourself, something which you transform. So back to the point about platforms. Many of you would have read Tim O'Reilly's seminal work, Government as a Platform. That's how GovUK is built. GovUK is built as a platform. It's an API-driven platform. The content is repurposable, reusable, redistributable. The aim being that others can take this information, can take these services, put them together, repurpose them. If I'm buying a house, why shouldn't I be able to pull together all the services I need? Too many of the services and transactions we use are not digital by default, they are what I would call the shoebox by default. It's a random collection of bits of paper, things you wrote down on the back of a fag packet, emails, which are in a shoebox somewhere. This is my house buying shoebox. This is my car buying shoebox. This is my job search shoebox. Social media transforms all of that. And at the moment, we've got no idea who's using it, how they're using it, and what they're doing with it. Across government, in terms of metrics, to be frank, we barely have any. £14 billion a year, and we've barely got any metrics. And the great thing about that £14 billion figure, I could say 16 billion, I could say 12, I could say 18, I think the highest I've seen is 21 billion. That's the order of discrepancy between who's counting and who gives a figure. So one of the fundamental things for us is transforming how we do things, building the capability so that we can actually measure what we do. But to make all that happen, we keep coming back to that fundamental point, digital culture. Culture is at the heart of everything we do. I had a meeting the other day, a lot of people coming to see us because they want to know our secret, as though we've got some kind of magic pixie, we keep it in a cupboard somewhere, and we go, magic pixie, give us a new online platform, MongoDB, Solar. We don't. What we have is we've got a culture of committed continuous delivery. We have a culture where innovation is driven throughout the organisation. It's something we all own, something we all do. Someone came in to see me the other week from a very large organisation, okay? And we were talking about innovation, and they said, oh yeah, we've tried innovation. Yeah? We had an innovation room. It had funky furniture. Nothing happened. If we are to drive proper digital transformation in this country, if we are to drive efficiency, if we are to drive a better service to all of us, then the only way we do that is by building a culture of continuous delivery, continuous innovation, continuous measurement, continuous engagement. But most of all, it's a culture which is willing to take risk. And that is currently the fundamental challenge which we face. You would have thought the size of the prize could encourage people, and it's good that there are loads of people who are encouraged. But the fundamental challenge which we face, and it's not just us, because I would say that if you think government services are bad, you should look at a lot of services across the private sector, which are equally, if not worse. Fundamental challenge is, how do we drive that new model? And that's one of the things which we're doing. That's one of the reasons why the whole digital maturity survey is of such interest to us, because it gives us a snapshot of what's happening in the world. Thanks very much.